痛いよナミ話してよ
チャンネル登録してね。
ナミ
Card Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Nengarden. To celebrate their 1-year anniversary, they're thanking fans with a huge sale. Nearly everything is $30 or less. Plus, you can use code KAIZOKU at checkout for an extra 5% off your order. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code KAIZOKU for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by gungum.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on gungum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, it's finally week 0 of OP12. We're going to be taking a look at the top 10 leader performance for the past week. This is taking a look at the OP12 format for the past week of private games only, which mostly, like I would say 90% comprise of ranked games. So yeah, this is going to be the data set that we're going to be taking a look at. Once the sim switches over the west to OP12, I'm going to have to make some changes on my end. So the stats probably next week whenever the sim updates for the new format, you'll want to look for west private games to see OP12. But yeah, for now, at least week 0, this is what the top 10 here is looking like. Up at number first, we do see Green Bonney, who went up 4 places since the last time we took a look at the list. We did remember seeing people were starting to transition from the traditional Fortress Kid to the new Mihawk version of the deck. Let's just see where the state of the deck is this week. I guess people were still converting over to Mihawk. And up at second is Blue Purple Luffy, who surprisingly enough at the Japan area finals did not show up in the finals. I think he got knocked out at like 3rd and 4th place, so like that's the semis. And then we have Green Zoro at 3rd. There were no Green Zoros in the top 32 actually, I think. Something like that. I didn't remember seeing one. And then Rayleigh, who did win that tournament. I don't know if that's spoilers, but if you guys didn't watch that tournament, I have it casted on my channel. So check out my previous videos. Should be the one like right before this one. But yeah, Rayleigh going down 2 spots though, despite that. Enel going up 2. I expect Rayleigh to go up more. Just people need time to like net deck that deck and play the deck and learn how to play it right. And then Yellow Kid went down 3. Biscuit. And then Green Purple Luffy right after that. Shanks going up 1 spot. I think people have figured out a pretty neat Shanks list in OP12 that does actually pretty consistently. Just not into like Blue Purple Luffy and stuff like that, but against everything else, like Shanks is still a really strong deck. And then Blue Kuzan still staying in the top 10 here, so I think it's official. Blue Kuzan is a top 10 deck for now. And then Kalgara went up 5 spots, getting into the top 10, knocking out Blackbeard. Blackbeard is no longer in the top 10 for once. That will change once PRB02 comes out, but until then, we're not getting that for a couple months now. But yeah, that's going to be your top 10 for this week, week 0. I would assume that the OP12 leaders may taper out as the meta progresses, because yeah, it's OP12, people want to play the new leaders, so that's Zoro, Rayleigh, and Kuzan here. I'm pretty sure Zoro and Rayleigh are going to for sure be a top 5 deck. I don't think those two are going to be moving anywhere. Kuzan, it remains to be seen. He did go up a spot, but could get knocked down out of the top 10 as people figure out some other decks. And also, we're taking on the meta that Japan left us, OP12, right? They figured out quite a bit of stuff, but there's still room for us to figure out stuff on our own. So we could find something that maybe they missed or they didn't have enough time to develop, and then it could completely change the meta, right? That's always a factor. But for now, this is going to be your top 10. We can even look a little bit more down just to see what some of the other leaders here are down here. So Smoker up at 11th, and then Blackbeard at 12th, and then Koala, Blue Yellow Nami at 14th, Purple Black Luffy at 15th, Lucci at 16th, Buggy at 17th, Bella Beatty at 18th, Sanji at 19th, and then Yamato rounds out the top 20 here. So that's going to be your top 20 for this week. Now we're going to dive into the individual leaders and take a look at their stats, their matchups, and then some of their deck lists too. So the ones we're interested in will be, well, let's see why Bonney went up 4 spots. And then we'll take a look at Zoro and Rayleigh just to see what they're at since they're new leaders. What else is interesting? Take a look at Kalgara too. He went up 5 spots. That'd be interesting to look at. And then I'm curious about Shanks too. So that'll be the 5 leaders we're going to look at this week. If you check out my week -1, my week -1 video, I went over like the entirety of the top 10. So if you want to see more in detail, you can either check that one out or wait for future videos where I get more like refreshed and updated data as the meta progresses. But for now, I feel like that's a good sample size. And before we jump into things, I kind of want to look at the deck list of the top players from that Japan area final championship tournament. I don't know the exact name. It had the word Japan in it. It had the word final had the word area. So in some combination of that. So the winner was this Rayleigh list here. And yeah, it was a PRB02 legal tournament, but Rayleigh did not run any PRB02 cards. So I would consider this an OP12 list. So yeah, anything interesting to see from the winners list? So I do think people run like a combination of 6 cards between the Zoro and the Kid and Killer, but it looks like he ran 4. Sorry, I don't have the players' names up on the top of my head, so you'll have to excuse me for that. They also run usually a 6 total combination of Nami and Shakuyaku, but he runs 8. So yeah, 2 of the rush attackers were moved into the searcher slot, it looks like, from what I've normally seen with this Rayleigh deck list. To never doubt that his power, I sometimes see this as a 2 of, but 4 of makes sense. It's a 2k counter anyway, right? There's really no downside to running this as a 4 of. Armament at 3, and then runs 1 of the Straw Hat Searcher. Okay, this is just to help more consistently find the Luffys. It finds quite a lot of stuff in the deck too, so yeah. I wouldn't say any of these additions or changes are make or break, but yeah, this is the list that won. It made it all the way to the finals, it won the finals. So that's Rayleigh. Well, compared to how Rayleigh looks like from us plebeians playing it when we look at our own deck stats later. And then the second place was this Green Purple Luffy that does heavily run PRB02 cards, so maybe not as relevant, but I just wanted to see it. So there's this new Nami Searcher, there's this new Zoro blocker 2k counter, and then this Luffy. But everything else is the existing package, right? They just replace like the Frankies at ramp and the Choppers at ramp in favor of more utility, right? You have a second Searcher, and then whatever Luffy does, he just delays. But yeah, that's Green Purple Luffy for you, the one that got second place. And then the final deck list we'll look at. So he lost in the semifinals. I don't know if he's 3rd or 4th, right? He's just in that spot, but does he run any PRB02 cards? Nope. So this is going to be a deck that we can play in OP12 right off the bat. It made it to the semis at the very least. So some interesting 1-ofs, right? There's a 1-of Nami 2k counter here that can bounce a 3-drop back to hand, could help you get rid of a chump blocker. Runs 2 puddings. I see people usually run it as a 1-of, but 2 for increased consistency. We did see Pudding win one of the players a game. I forgot which game it was, but it was one of the rounds. The Blue Purple Luffy played a Pudding, and then it helped him go for game. It like messed up the opponent's hand completely. It was against Shanks, right? And then 1 Franosuke in case you need rush. Okay, yeah. So usually they run 4 of the 2k counter Sanji, but they replaced it with the Franosuke and the Nami here. Everything else is pretty standard. Oh wait, so there's no Red Rock or Gravity Blade in this deck. They remove the removal in favor of 4 Thunder Bagua. That also makes sense, right? This is kind of almost guaranteed ramp. Your opponent makes you go down to 2. You can stop an attack and ramp to get to 8. Kind of a no-brainer at the expense of getting rid of your removal, in which case, yeah, I guess it depends on what you prioritize. So those are the top 3 deck lists from that tournament. So we'll move on to the leader stats that we're going to take a look at this week. So first up is Bonney. Bonney has a going first win rate of 55 and a going second win rate of 58 on average, giving her a total raw win rate of 56, which is weighted to 53 thanks to her play rate being quite high, 3.4%. Here are her matchup spreads below. So good into Purple Black, good into Sanji, good into Buggy, good into Yamato, Rayleigh. That's her claim to fame here. Rayleigh counters the meta, and then Bonney is the counter to the meta. Yeah, also good into Yellow Kid here, who is, like Rayleigh, a counter to Green Zoro and Blue Purple Luffy, but Bonney is the counter to the counter. Triangle meta, I guess. But yeah, unfortunately, loses to the things that Rayleigh and the Kid are good against, right? Loses to Blue Purple Luffy pretty consistently. Good into Zoro, actually. So that's a good thing for Bonney. And it kind of goes like turbulent into Kuzan, Shanks, Blackbeard, Green Purple Luffy, and Smoker, depending on if Bonney's going first or second. And here are the most kept starting hands below. So let's take a look at some deck lists for Bonney. So I break down these deck lists into 4 categories. Top overall, which takes into account number of games, the win rate, and then how many people have played the deck. Unique pilots. The most piloted would just checks like the deck with the most amount of people playing it. Most played, which is just the number of games. And then hidden gem, where it takes into account the number of games and the win rate, but it doesn't care about how many people played the deck. So if you have like a unique deck that you're doing really good against the rest of the meta, but like only you are running it, I might find your deck list here. So it looks like for Bonney for this week, all 4 are the same deck list. So I would say this is a pretty good deck list here, right? 59.1% win rate over 320 games. That's a pretty significant sample size. So let's take a look at the deck in detail via my deck builder. All of this is made by me, by the way. I always forget to say this at the beginning of the video. Everything you're seeing in this video, I coded, I designed. So yeah, I don't know. Say, oh, neato to me, please. Would make me feel better. Okay, so let's take a look at the price of the deck. $250, not bad, without the OP12 cards, which is just Koshiro and Mihawk, and oh, the Bonney. Okay, so it might be maybe approaching a $300 deck with these cards added. And yeah, as we suspected, it's fully converted to this 8-cost Mihawk kind of deck. They still run one of the 8-cost kit just because it's searchable by the Bonney in case you need it against aggro or something. But aggro has so many tools like Mole Pistol and stuff to get around it now. 4 Hody is standard. So the top end, Law and Beppo has kind of been disappointing, right? No one's running Law and Beppo from the Bonney starter deck. It's still Doflamingo and Shanks, right? You have the thing that can KO anything, and you have the thing that can stop 3 things from attacking. Hidden behind your 8-cost blocker wall. You have the koalas to also help you freeze. And of course, Cavendish is like the best card in any green Supernova deck. You have to run it. It's kind of mandatory. Anything else interesting? No, that's pretty much it. I guess the 2 Bonnies is interesting, right? It's card draw, but only in the late game. Yeah, despite only running 1 kid, they still run quite a lot of blockers, right? Between the Bedge and the Koshiros, and then the Rouge and the Bonnies. But that's going to be Bonney for you. Up next is Green Zoro, so 53% when we're going first, 52 going second. Pretty much the same whether you're going first or second. It's a turn agnostic kind of deck. Get into a lot of decks here: Buggy, Sanji, Koala, Nami, Teach, Nika, Luffy, Kalgara, Shanks. But loses to Enel pretty badly, like devastatingly bad. Also loses to Rayleigh and Kid, right? These are the meta counters as we mentioned earlier. Also weak against Kuzan and Bonney. Kind of goes 50-50 with Blue Purple Luffy, depending on if you're going first or second. And yeah, Smoker also gives them a run for his money too. Let's take a look at Zoro decklist. I doubt this has changed much at all since last week. So just for fun, let's take a look at the hidden gem. Look at that, 1,488 games from the most played and most piloted list. So take a look at the hidden gem and see if it has anything spicy in it. Okay, it's a hidden gem just because it runs this 4 Kawamatsu instead of some other 2K counter. What's the other 2K counter that it usually runs? Okay, people usually run Neko Mamushi, the vanilla 2K. This guy is running 4 Kawamatsu, which is just 1 cost less. Hey, you're unique. But yeah, won't go over the deck list too much in detail. I even have a deck breakdown for Zoro. It's practically the same list. They only run 2 Kuina though. I run more Kuina in mine. But yeah, that's Zoro for you. Up next is Rayleigh going first, 49.48%, going second, 56. So you want to go second if you can. It helps you play that 4-cost Luffy on curve, which you kind of really need. Good into Yamato, Smoker, Sanji, Zoro, Nika, Luffy, Teach, Green Purple Luffy, and Koala. Not really. Koala, if you're going second, you are, but if going first, kind of have some trouble there. But loses to Enel, Yellow Kid, and Bonney. And then loses to Shanks going first by a large margin. Loses to Buggy too, because of Shoe Buggy, because of 1 singular card. We don't want it banned, guys. He needs counterplay. But the counterplay cannot be countered, so I'll save that for another video. I always get 1 comment or something talking about Shoe Buggy anyway, though, so if you're that guy, hey, shout out to you. Okay, so let's take a look at his deck list. So let's take a look at the top overall. See how it's different from that first place winners, Rayleigh. Not too different, actually. So people have started running 8 1-cost searchers, so that's a switch. What else is different? Oh no, see, 2 Zoro and 2 Kid and Killers. Okay, so they have started to adopt this kind of ratio all around the board, all across the board, I guess. All around the board, why did I say that? So yeah, 1 Divine Departure, that's something interesting. Kong Gatling. Did the winner run this? He did not. So he cut out the Kong Gatling. I kind of understand that too. I feel like I don't really need it. So I might cut it out of my list too. Then 3 To Never Doubt. 2 Sanji is kind of insane though. I don't ever see a scenario where this Brook is better than the Sanji. I don't know. Sanji just does too much, way more for you than Brook does, in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, this is not my Rayleigh list. This is your guys's, right? This is the most played list. $93 as of the currently available cards. OP12 should be coming out at the end of the week, so we'll see the prices of Luffy and Shakuyaku at that time, and all these hockey cards. These hockey cards should be dirt cheap. They're all like rares and under. Is anything higher than rare? No. So yeah, we'll see what Rayleigh costs. We'll take a look at like day 1 deck prices too. That might be an interesting video once OP12 data is in for prices. Okay, so let's take a look at why Kalgara went up 5 spots. So Kalgara has a going first win rate of 50.82, second of 53.6. So second is the better curve for Kalgara. Good into Koala, because yeah, you don't run anything bigger than 6 costs with the 6 cost Kalgara, so that makes complete sense. Koala's leader ability does nothing against you unless you play like Omen to Holy. Good into Sanji, good into Teach, good into Yamato. Really good into Enno if you're going second. Good into Kuzan. Good into Kid going second as well. Also gets around freaking Shubuggy because you just lose out on access to Omen Holy from Shubuggy. But loses to Bonney, loses to Nika Luffy. 7k base I guess is really strong against your characters. Loses to Zoro unfortunately. Loses to Nami. Loses to Shanks on average. Loses to Green Purple Luffy on average. Also, Blue Purple Luffy almost even actually. If you manage to go first, you actually do better into him. That's really interesting because you have a better going second curve, but then going first against him, I guess you want to take it away from him. But Rayleigh also, turbulent matchup. If you go second, you do better. So let's take a look at the deck list. Should be interesting. So Kalgara's deck list, all 4 categories are the same deck here. So let's take a look at it. Very, very insanely cheap deck. Currently available cards is under $10. It's $8 for this deck. I doubt this rare Kalgara and this uncommon Wiper are gonna increase. Oh wait, no, sorry. Kuma is gonna be not the cheapest card, right? This could set you back like, I don't know, like $60-$70, even to $100 if people are overzealous on this card. But yeah, the entirety of the price of the deck is gonna be these Kuma secret rares, but they're only running 3 of them. I see people run 2 normally, but this person runs it at 3, or not one person. It's like how many people? These 93 people run it as a 3 of. Anything else interesting? So the no counter Wiper is only at the 2 of. It's a brick in the hand, so it makes complete sense to me. Everything else is pretty standard, right? You run Zeus. I've seen people cut out the Shura searchers too, but it looks like people are incorporating it back in. Only 3 of the vanilla Kalgara, just because we have this 5-drop Kalgara that just accomplishes what we want with the Nolan healing combo. And then 2 Thors and 4 Earth Won't Lose. So yeah, not too much different, but definitely got a buff. Enough of a buff to go up 5 slots this week. So if you're looking for a super cheap deck that seems to be making a splash at the moment, Kalgara might be a consideration. We have not seen Kalgara make any placements in Japan though, so do be aware of that. Right, maybe it's good on the sim, but in tournament play, doesn't have the consistency to make it to the top tables, even though it's a strong deck, you know? Right, some of his matchups were pretty bad into the top meta. And lastly, let's take a look at Shanks. So going first win rate of 48, going second win rate of 54. So definitely you want to go second. That's a 6% differential there. Good into Nika Luffy, good into Yamato Smoker, good into Green Purple if you're going second by a large margin. Good into Kid, good into Rayleigh if you're going second too by a large margin. Yeah, you want to go second as much as you can. Consistently, it looks like going second is good against every leader. Right, some leaders it kind of changes depending on your matchup. It looks like Shanks always wants to go second. Here is why Shanks isn't in the top 5 anymore though, is that he loses to Zoro and Blue Purple Luffy, unfortunately. Snake Man Luffy. Other than that though, look at this matchup spread. He's good into a lot of decks, right? It's just the top meta is where he has trouble against them. Loses to Buggy too. That kind of sucks. That's kind of funny because they were rivals on the... Oh, no, I shouldn't say anymore. You guys are going to complain about spoilers. But oh, this is interesting. Into Teach, going first, you have a really bad win rate, but going second, you barely go even. That makes sense because a lot of your cards are on plays actually, especially your KO effects, and a lot of your KO effects don't work on Jesus Burgess anyway. So let's take a look at the deck list. Let's see if it's like a removal heavy version. All right, it's because it's PRB02. I forgot. Eastern stats, or the Eastern Q is on PRB02 format, so we do see Lucky Roo and then Law. I don't know, is it too early to look at PRB02 deck lists? Everything else in the deck is pretty much the same as usual though, par for course. Right, instead of the new gates and stuff to KO stuff, they just have value cards like Lucky Roo to draw extra cards. And then this law seems to be a good card in general. Just being able to like pop something when you're attacking, right? Because it's good to go on 6 to play Law, and then on your 8 play Beckman to kill what is this? AK. You can kill an AK body this way with Law's attack, and then Beckman's on play. Or even combining it with Rayleigh, you can kill, what can you kill? A 7k, right? If that math is correct. But yeah, it does cut out that OP12 Shanks in favor of it. And this starter deck Shanks has actually been a really good card for the deck from what I've seen. But let's take a look at an OP12 Shanks deck list since this is an OP12 video. Hidden Gem would be interesting, right? It looks OP12. Yep, definitely it is. It does run the new gates as we mentioned. And then this Shanks in place of the Lucky Roo and the 6-cost Law from PRB02. Still running the 4-cost Lucky Roo 2, just to stall. And then, runs 4 Red Hawk. Is this still relevant in the meta though? With Doflamingo gone, there aren't too many like 5k bodies that you really want to have to deal with. But just in the late game, also just leaving 2 Dawn up. I guess like you can always play this Shanks out for 6, and then you'll have 4 Dawn up, right? So you could always Red Hawk twice or like Divine Departure. So it's good in like stalling in the late game. What's this card? Nobody Hurts a Friend of Mine. 2-cost event. Oh, it gives minus 3k to something, and then you draw a card if your opponent has a 5k or higher character. Oh, they're not running the Building Snakes. So in place of Building Snake, they're running this event. Because I guess with the Building Snakes, you're -1, right? This card at least replaces itself. It's kind of like Tempest Kick, but for power reduction. Or Great Eruption, actually, because there's no like graveyard restriction or anything like that. You just always... Oh, no, you do have to be a red Hair Pirates type, but then that's kind of free in this deck, right? That's not something you have to pay for. But it does cost 2. But yeah, I like that. That's interesting. But it plays kind of like a black deck, but with like a red late game. How much does this deck cost? $87 before this rare Shanks, so it's not going to get any more expensive. It's going to be at most $89, $90 if you want to still play Shanks. And yeah, that was all the deck lists and stats that I had to show for you this week. What do you guys think? Week 0, this is how the meta is going to start. It looks like we'll take a look on day 1 just to see what the meta is like. I doubt it's going to change too much unless somebody figures out like a crazy deck list that the East did not figure out. But for now, yeah, this is looking like what the meta is going to be like until OP13, where it's going to change by a lot. OP13 looks crazy. I've been already uploading some OP13 videos, testing it in case you wanted to see, right? I have a Emu video, I have a OP13 Sabo video, I might have an Ace one soon. And then, yeah, subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. If you want to look at these stats yourself, check out my website, cardkaizoku.com. It's all linked in the description below. For next week, we can take a look at some off-meta decks too, so if there's some that you want to see, let me know in the comments below. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time, next week, same time, same place. Okay, bye.
Card Kaizoku.